You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. And be sure to smash that like button.
Michael Clayton in motion. Mauck rolls out, looks deep, fires it as he is hit. He's got Skylar Green. Oh, touchdown! LSU!
One of the greatest moments, not only in the 2003 national championship season, but quite literally one of the greatest moments in LSU football history. Matt Mauck finding Skylar Green for a touchdown. LSU in a tie ball game upends top 10 Georgia in what was a statement victory. This team hoping for many of those. And we're very pleased to be joined again by Dr. Matt Mauck, joining us from the Denver area. Doc, how are you, man? It's great to have you back on the show.
Doing really well. Always enjoy coming on with you guys.
Man, it's our pleasure. I know you had an opportunity to see this team in camp earlier this year. I'd love your thoughts, man, just what it was like being around Brian Kelly and this team for a day.
Yeah, I always love coming back. I think Coach Kelly has done a tremendous job. I think some people forget kind of what he inherited. Wasn't great, and kind of had to rebuild and do a lot of things. I was there for their first practice, and I told him this. I was super impressed with how organized. I mean, very few false starts. There was, they looked like they'd been practicing for a month or so. And so the other thing I noticed right away was how much bigger they looked on defense. Last couple of years, try to watch almost every game, and it just seemed like we were overmatched defensively. I don't think that's going to be the case this year.
I'm certain you got a chance to either watch, talk to Garrett Nussmeier. What were your impressions of Nuss?
I haven't been rooting for a player more than him in a long time. I've always loved every LSU quarterback that's there, but what he's done for LSU, he could have gone to any school he wanted to and transferred, but loved LSU, loved what LSU football is about, and stuck with it. So there hasn't been someone I've been rooting for more, and I hope LSU fans show him some love, and if things don't go perfect right away, that they understand he really hasn't played that many games, and he's gonna be all right.
Yeah, what's that like, Matt? That transition going from a guy. I mean, look, you got thrown into a tough situation. I think we've talked about plenty in 2001 in the SC championship game. Made the most of it, obviously, and then started 2002. Were injured and came back in 2003 and won the championship. But what's that like for Garrett finally getting the reins after waiting that long?
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking. You put in the work, you've done everything, you look good in practice, all that stuff. But football's hard. Sometimes, you throw a perfect pass, hits the player's hands, and it goes for an interception. You did nothing wrong, but your stat line doesn't look great at the end of it. So, and for someone that hasn't played a ton, obviously he looked fantastic in the bowl game and the times he has been able to play. But, when you're, in charge of it all and you open up against a tough opponent, neutral site, you just never know how things are going to go. So I think he's going to have a great year. May take a few games before he kind of finds, his footing and gets comfortable. But I think he's going to be a tremendous leader for us and really hope that he has a ton of success.
Matt Mauck is with us. If you... As a quarterback, would you rather, especially in this situation with Nuss, right, taking over for the first time, would you rather open with the marquee game like SC, given what you're saying, like it may take a few games to kind of get your feet, or would you rather that sort of like tune up before the big game?
My first ever start was at Virginia Tech, and they were ranked, I think, 12th or 13th at the time. I didn't realize it, but Blacksburg, it's loud. It is a different. So I think the neutral site will help a little bit, but I think when your first start is against an opponent that is a tough place to play, it makes it very difficult because everyone's trying to understand in a game what plays you're calling, doing checks, things like that. So I think USC being a good team is a little bit of a disadvantage, but I think at least it's not necessarily in a hostile environment.
Matt Mauck's with us here for a couple of minutes. Good to join us on this Wednesday edition of AFR. I would love your thoughts getting to go out to LSU's practice and getting a look at those wide receivers, even after losing after losing Neighbors and Thomas, and then you see the guys they have. I mean, give me some perspective as a quarterback on what you see in that group.
I think there's a lot of guys that are unproven, but sure look the part. And so I think LSU is from starting with Coach Saban to Coach Miles to Coach O and now Coach Kelly have done a really great job of keeping the in-state skill guys in-state. And so we've been extremely fortunate at the quarterback position to have plenty of targets. So I don't think Nuss is going to have any complaints that he doesn't have enough guys to throw to.
I'm glad you brought up Coach Saban. I had it on my list to ask you your reaction. Obviously, you played for him at LSU. What was your reaction when you learned he was retiring?
I was actually surprised it took that long. To be honest with you, I think it's the reason. I think Coach Saban is one of the greatest coaches of all time, no matter what level. But I think part of the reason he didn't have as much success at the NFL level is players have a little more control of things, and his style of coaching and his system is wonderful when there's one person in control. And so I think he quickly realized that that's just not where college football is at. And I think he not feared, but just kind of thought, hey, this is not, I've done enough. I don't want to do this anymore. And I don't blame him. I have tremendous amount of respect for college coach, but I don't think that's something I would want to do with transfer portal and NIL and all that stuff.
It is a dramatically different world. There's no doubt. When you think back to it, Matt, like there's so much that's been brought up about that 03 staff, right? With Nick and Jimbo and Muschamp and even Derek Dooley and Haywood and Kirby was on that staff as well. Did you know, like when you think back, I mean, it's been 21 years, hard to say that, but did you know what that staff was at the time?
None of it. So I was playing baseball and I kind of got recruited back, and I came down and I got to meet Jimbo, Muschamp, Derek. All those guys just carried themselves in a way that you just kind of felt, man, this is kind of something special that's going on. But people forget that Adam Gase was a GA,
yes.
Freddie Kitchens was a GA, Mel Tucker was on the staff, Stacy Searles, who's had a tremendous amount of success as an offensive line coach. The number of people that were there was astonishing.
I got to ask the Kirby question. Like, do you have a Kirby story? Were you even aware that he was there? I mean, you're the starting quarterback of a national championship team. Were you even aware of like a defensive assistant running around out there?
Well, Kirby makes himself known. Okay. So yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, you kind of know that, So and he and Will were such good buddies. So and Kirby's a super nice guy, and so yeah, you for sure. And I got along with him really well. I think that was the neat part too about Coach Saban, not the most personable guy, but all those other guys you mentioned actually like players, like being around them, love that environment. So it was kind of it was just a fun staff to be around.
I got two more things for you if I can. Your time much appreciated. LSU awarded the 18s. I don't think. Well, I don't know, but I don't think back in at the end of the 03 season, when, as the story goes, you passed the number to our guy Jake Hester, who works with us here at the station. I don't know that you anticipated, Matt, it becoming what it's become, but can you go back and just tell us what that was like how that all happened with you and Jake, like passing that number? Was it a formal, informal thing? Like how did that go?
Well, Jack Marucci hates me telling this story, but so it was as informal as it can get. And so I just happened, I was getting ready for the draft, and I come back in and I sit in Greg Stringfell's office, and I said, well, who's getting 18? And he said, Hester. And I said, I can't have an Evangel kid wearing 18. And so Jacob was in there. I said, I got to meet him. And so I get up and, go over and start. And I really, Jacob's a great guy. It's easy to like him instantly. And I said, all right, well, this isn't bad. And then, so it was Greg Stringfellow, myself, Jack Marucci, and Michael Bonnet. And so after that, and then Jacob went on to have a great career and be just a great guy. That's when it actually kind of us passing it on to someone started. Jacob was going to have the number anyway. It just happened that he happened to be just a very similar player to me, and someone that all those same guys really liked.
Did you get a chance to? I mean, obviously you didn't know at the time that Josh Williams and Greg Penn would wear the 18, but your thoughts on those two guys? I'm not sure if you had a chance to meet or talk to either of them yet.
I did. I think the coaches. The coaching staff kind of knew who that may be, I think. So I actually got to meet both of them when I was there. They didn't know it, but they just said, "Oh, these are two leaders on the team. Wanted you to meet them," type of thing. So super happy for them. I think really cool. The walk-on story and things like that. I think that's just couldn't think of two guys more deserving.
He is Matt Mauck, 2003 national champion, the original 18, I guess we could say, and clearly still a big Tiger fan, man. It's always great when we get a few minutes of your time. Thanks for squeezing in. I know you're busy out there, but we appreciate it.
Yeah, make sure Jacob hears that, all right? He keeps on trying to play. He's the original, all right? You just keep reminding him that every day, okay?
I'll clip it, and I'll save it for him right here when he's here in the morning at the chair next to me. That we appreciate it, man.
All right, see you guys.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.